Hello and welcome back to the definitive Starship review series without access to a proper table. For today, we are covering Narek Snakehead, the last of the Universe collection for a little bit, as I finally caught up with where the subscription is at in the United States. Well, probably. I mean, honestly, I'm thinking about canceling my Universe subscription, not because of the ships. I'll still just buy the ships online. But basically, the Universe collection is drifting so far from where the actual shop is, and Eaglemoss has always seemed to prioritize random shop orders over subscriptions for some reason. And really, the final bullet was they announced the Universe subscription was going to become bi-monthly, so I'd only be getting one of these ships every 2 months, which puts the Voyager J in the 32nd century, which I've been looking forward to a lot. Around about September, October, I think it was. They couldn't get the models in time, right? That was the reason. The same day, they put up on their web shop the Voyager J for pre-order with an expected delivery date of January 14th, 10 months before the subscribers would get it. I mean, the web shop itself is also usually like a good 2-3 months optimistic, we'll call it, and when they say the things are going to get delivered. But especially doing these reviews, like, I don't want to wait that long. So we'll see how things go. We may have another batch where I get, like, several more ships at the same time, just to catch up. But anyway, Narek Snakehead is what I would say. But first, of course, I have to point out that I'm part of the Eaglemoss affiliate program, which means that if you choose to buy this model because of this video, I will get a 7% commission if you use the link in the description. I can say whatever I want about these models, I hope I may have disproved with that thing about canceling my subscription, but just know there is a monetary incentive for me to tell you to go buy this ship. So you may want to keep that in mind as we go into my review. The size for this model is interesting, as you can kind of see from my hand, but we're going to do the official size comparisons. I'm actually going to start with the Universe collection, but unsurprisingly, it's the smaller side, about the same size as the Picard Bird of Prey, almost exactly width-wise, but lengthwise, it is a bit bigger. Hopping over to the Discovery class, it's actually most comparable to the Shiva class, or indeed the four-nacelled variant, they're the same size, of the Section 31 ship. By four-nacelle, I mean the four-nacelle of this Miranda-esque, the smaller size, which is a particular model size for those of you who know, because if we hop over to the normal collections, that means it is in fact comparable to a standard size model. Here it is next to the Valdor, and you can see the wingspan is approximately the same as the Snakehead's length. But the one that really surprised me is the normal Equinox it's the same length. Now obviously the Snakehead is a slightly bigger model because of it's got width and length. Like if they made the Snakehead as a standard size model, it would be much smaller. In fact, they actually did, in a way. I can't remember, there's an Enterprise Klingon ship that's vaguely like this. The magazine mentions it. But in terms of just raw length, what the ruler says, it is on the vein of other standard size models. I think it would look big next to them. I mean, I did a similar experiment with this model, and that video, if you want to see it, it is noticeably bigger, but it still fits in all right. I think it'd be a bit different. I don't know, just something about the dimensions. Unfortunately, I don't quite have that same setup to test it anymore. But if you are curious, here it is next to the Columbia refit, as always. The Columbia refit Enterprise. And there we go. You can see it does actually hold its weight along that special size of model, and that's why I've had it displayed next to other Romulan ships in the Scimitar. Yeah, it is a smaller ship in terms of pure dimensions. If you want, here's it just compared to its own stand, which if you have any Eaglemoss model, you've got these stands. But yeah, let's get into the actual model. Pretty decent weight for its size. I mean, it's clearly not all metal. I'm not even sure if it's mostly metal, but it does feel good in the hand for its size. As is tradition, I am struggling to tell what is metal and plastic. I think there might be two different types of plastic as part of this model, but you can obviously see the seam line separating the top from the bottom, and then the engine-y bits do have a separate seam line. But I believe this top bit is the metal bit. Or at least part of it is the metal bit. It is hard to tell, I don't know why, but the temperature does feel about right for metal. And then the rest is plasticky. So it's got a good weight distribution, like there is weight in generally every part of the model. It feels about as dense in every part of the model, so that's good, a very uniform weight distribution. I will say before I forget, there does appear to be one error in this model that is kind of major, but in truth, I only noticed it because I kind of scrutinized these, go over them, compare them to the magazine a lot before these reviews, and that's in the windshield. The pictures, well, here you can see it good. They have reference to these side windows, in windows like, the cockpit windows on the sides. And that is what Memory Alpha shows as well, but if you look at the actual model, you have a very clear windshield on the front, but none on the sides. And if you look very closely, you can kind of see the indents. There you go, with the glare. You can kind of see the indent of where it should be. And so I looked around. That doesn't appear to be an error with this particular model, or rather the one that's in my hands right now. Because looking at other pictures of this model online, they all are missing a side cockpit view. So that is a continuity problem. I suppose you could paint it on if you really wanted. As you can see, the indents are kind of there, but that is an issue. However, every other part of this model is really well done. And as I said before, I quite like the Romulan designs from Picard, and I really like this one as well. Reminiscent of kind of the Scorpion style, at least from memory. I couldn't draw the picture of it if I had to tell you, but black, sleek, scorpion base, so another kind of vaguely reptile-y thing, which is interesting reading in the magazines, because that doesn't seem to have been a thing, but it does fit quite well. I think Johnny's did a good thing. Weirdly, the magazine does mention giving it the same green pattern as all the other Romulan ships, which neither the show nor the model reflects. Like, this does look screen accurate, aside from the window things, at least to me, but it does have the Romulan paneling that's pretty similar to the other ships of this era, but all over, all sorts of panels. Even the bottom is quite detailed, especially for the bottom of a model. Not quite as interesting, but there's are still the panels work all over the place, and even a few grates you can hear indented there, weathering still on the bottom. Nice bit of color on the back, full of engines, so not too much room for detail, but they are graded engines. You can see the line there, and of course you have the detailing of the door, a few more grates up there, and of course your little walkway and ramp. This model can sit down on its own if you want. I mean, you can see it is flat. It's not really designed to do this. It does have landing legs that go down, and the ramp does hover over. I think in the show it's probably supposed to pivot. It doesn't on this model, but if that's something that concerns you, this is what it looks like just sitting on its own. You do have nice sort of stickering detail or painted detail up there of just kind of generic warnings and arrows. I don't know what the painted version of Greeblies are, but that's what they would be. And yeah, just a lot of nice panel work and stealth work done all across the ship, which is nicely sculpted to resemble, obviously, a Cobra-y. I think it's a diamond cobra in the magazine, but very clearly aggressive snake sort of thing. And I quite like it for the Romulan shuttle, attack shuttle. And the green highlights are a really nice accent to the model. You only really get them in, I'll sort of call them headlights up here, even though it's not what they are, for most angles. But on the back, it is nice to have that green as well. And I think they do a good job of making it feel bigger than it is. Like, in my hands, it does not feel like a standard size model. I mean, again, I can hold it in one hand very easily, but it does feel natural to kind of spread it across the two hands, which gives it a bit, helps it feel bigger. Yeah, this is a fairly simple model, as it is a lot of just well-done panel work and sculpting. Just the small little complaint of that side window, which once you know it's a problem, you'll see. So I guess I've kind of ruined it for you. And it is look kind of bare once you know that there should be black there. Well, different black. Everywhere else, the nice little, I believe they call it gunmetal finish, is very nicely done. Almost has a powdery look to it, like that gunmetal, black gunmetal finish. So yeah, other than the window, I'd say it's really well done. I mean, the window that's there is nicely done, just the missing bits. And so if this was a model that interested you, or you like the ship, I think you'd be perfectly happy with this model. You'd probably really enjoy it. It's always just a matter of do you like the ship, I suppose, with the Picard versions. But I do, so I am quite happy. Well, that was probably a bit shorter than normal, but I think that was a pretty thorough review, so I hope you enjoyed. If you have any more questions about this model, just ask me in the comments. I will answer all of them. We're still small enough. I have the privilege I can do that. If you'd like me to review any other ship, just tell me in the comments below. I'll get around to it as soon as I can. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.